Today, the International Monetary Fund says the new bailout deal for Greece won't work unless some of its debt is restructured or even written off. This as the country votes on the controversial last-ditch reforms offered by Europe earlier this week.
Yeah, we've asked you to get in touch with your views on what you make of that. Keep them coming. Hashtag BBC Business Live is the hashtag to get in touch.
Now, to something entirely different. You've got a sneak preview there because we're going to enter the world of sport and where it crosses over with business, the management of teams.
Well, it's football manager, there you go, and sports executive. They are planning to change the boardroom. You can see there on one side Carlo Ancelotti. He's one of the world's most recognised football coaches.
In his career, he's managed the likes of Chelsea, AC Milan and Real Madrid, some of the most successful teams in the world.
Well, he's joining forces with Mike Ford. He's a sports executive, there he is, and he's a leading figure in the English Premier League. He's been doing that for the past 15 years or so.
Now the two are looking for a brand new challenge and have written a book called Quiet Leadership, looking at how you can translate success on the pitch to the boardroom.
So, what advice do they have for business leaders? Samira, you saw her earlier, but she's been catching up with those two in New York.
How would you describe your leadership style?
I don't know. I try to be democratic because my character is like this. Also, I had experience with the other coach. I cannot say democratic, but not always, because to manage a team, sometimes you need to be strong, you need to be ready to fight sometimes. But I think the most important thing is to have a good relationship with players, because the key of the success of a manager are the players.
Well, sometimes some of those players can be difficult to manage. Give me a sense of what that may have been like. You know, sometimes there are some big personalities when it comes to some sports players.
Yeah, sometimes you have to have a relationship with big professional player, with big ego, with big personality. But in my experience, usually the most talented player are the most professional player, and so in that sense, it's not so difficult.
What areas should today's modern business leader focus on when really trying to manage and maximize the talents of their employees?
I think any modern manager, whether it's in sport or business, goes into an organization, a team, a franchise, a leading financial business, wanting to win, whatever that looks like, and winning is a part of getting the most out of people. So as long as you keep a focus on the talent, as long as you keep focus on supporting them and bringing them out, and I think Carlo, throughout his career, and as well as all the great coaches, have prided themselves on being able to take the best talent and get the most out of them, and that is ultimately the business lesson.
Mike, you've discussed managing big ego talent in the past. Can you sort of give me an idea of how these lessons can be transferred into modern business?
I think in business it's a very, very similar situation. You know, you've got reward, recognition and joy. Everyone wants the same sort of things, whether you're a Cristiano Ronaldo or you're an amazing business person. So tapping into their individual desires, and how do you actually, as Carlo said, not directly lead them, but create an environment for them to get the most out of themselves. And I think that's the mistake between the good and the great talent, and the good and the great leaders, is that the good leaders try and control that environment, where the great leaders try and create a culture and environment that inspires them to get the most out of them. And Carlo's experience and what he's done throughout his career is a great example of that.
What ideas and lessons can businesses learn from sport when building a high performance environment? Because the examples that you use, of course, you know, being on trading floors or trading or any kind of brokeraging, that's pretty high intensity, which you could see similarities between that and football. So what exactly do you need to do to be successful?
The world of business is very complex now. You know, the competition is no longer 2 blocks from here, it could be 2 continents and that. And I think as it becomes more complex, then you have to simplify what you expect and how you define what you want out of that particular group or particular individuals. But the reality is, if you recruit right, if you recruit on character, if you recruit on ability, of course, you create this environment where the individuals can achieve their goals, then ultimately, you know, we live in a generation where the average graduate changes the job 9 times, okay? 5 times before they're 35. So it's not about a job for life, it's about connecting with a business, putting your skills into you as a leader, someone like Carlo, to get the most out of that individual.
I'm wondering, Carlo, what has it been like for you to be working on this book? Did you always make that connection between sports and business?
No, not a lot, but I think that there is a real strict correlation from business and sport for a lot of things.
And now that the book is coming out, what's next for you?
I would like to write a book about the relationship with my owners, my old owners. Will be really funny.
Interesting.
Yeah, really interesting. When the worlds of football and finance really do collide, underlines quite how much
in
of
a positive way, as opposed to a
sport
negative way.
Is. You remember at the top of the programme we asked you what you would do if you were voting in Parliament in Athens